Good morning, and welcome back to the Social Stack 66 Day Challenge Get Started in Social Media. I'm Amy Stack, and today is day 55 of our challenge, Trimming Videos. In this challenge, you'll learn how to cut the beginning or end of your video off if you had extra footage that you didn't want in that final cut. Before we get started, if this is your first time here and you want to learn more about marketing with technology for your business, go ahead and start now by subscribing to my channel. Just click that red subscribe button and then the bell icon to make sure you get notifications. Okay, YouTube does offer a very limited editing features for you. So if you're hosting something like an online class or webinar or a Q&A session that you're recording, you might end up having extra footage at the beginning or the end that you don't want to actually have in your video once it's on YouTube. If you're like me, you might even be playing music at the beginning to help get people pumped up as they come into your room. And if you don't own the rights to that, it's actually not allowed to be in your video on YouTube due to copyright laws. So I'm going to get started here and hit escape. Okay, we're here on my channel. And to get into that editing feature, you're going to go to your YouTube Studio. So click that blue YouTube Studio button. And then on the left-hand side, we're going to find the Content button. Go ahead and click Content, and it will bring up a list of all of your videos. So you can see everything that's public has the little green eye and says public, and anything that you've scheduled that hasn't launched yet is going to have that little note there. It's a clock that says scheduled. So I'm going to use this Ask Amy as an example. We're just going to hit the little pencil that says details, and that'll let us get into those editing features. So you can see everything we've already done. We've gone over our title, our description, our thumbnail, our tags. You can edit any of that here. And then over on the side, we've got our playlist, end screen, and cards. So we've talked about all of this in our challenge so far. Now, if you go over to the left-hand side and hit that editor button, it will bring up our video timeline here. You'll notice that there's a blue trim button. If I click that, a blue outline shows up over my whole video. So I can drag that and choose to crop out this whole gray area at the beginning. I can do the same thing at the end. So depending on where you want it to go, you can do that. Now, if you really want to get into kind of cutting sections out of the middle, you can. It's a little more complicated. You'd actually have to load your video in a couple of times and cut off the first chunk of one, the middle of the next, and then smush them together. So that's a whole nother story. It is possible if you are wanting to do that. I do recommend using like a video editor, maybe iMovie if you're on Mac, or Adobe Pro has some great video editing software as well. There's a bunch of stuff out there. But the easiest thing to do in here in YouTube is just to trim off the beginning or the end. Now, sometimes it can get a little bit tricky trying to get it down to the exact second that you want. So I want to point out that we have this zoom in feature here. So you can see this is an hour class, and I can see the whole class right here. If I zoom in, you can see that now I can only see the first. I guess I can still see the whole thing. Oh, I didn't zoom in that much, or I zoomed out. If I zoom in all the way, here we go. That's what I was trying to do. You can see I can only see 6 minutes, 12 minutes, 18, versus all, I think it was 53 minutes. See how far that goes over? So by zooming in with this feature here, these little magnifying glasses, I can actually see much more specific time frames to drag my editor over. Let me zoom out a little. There we go. Okay, so now you can see, I can see the whole video here again. And I can drag this to right here, and you can see if I hover my cursor over, it's telling me that's about 4 minutes in. Now, if I zoom in more and hover my cursor, it gives me a much more accurate read of where that is. And then I can go ahead and see it won't let me hit save until we preview that trim. It should start playing. Here we go. If I hit play, you can see that it started in the middle of a word for me. So if I wanted to edit that trim again, I can come back, I can hit edit, and I can say, you know what, actually I wanted that to go farther back. And I can play around with that. So you want the preview button down here and your trim left and right on the front or the back of your video. So it does take a little bit of finagling. You got to play around with it a little bit, but using those zoom in and out features are very helpful. And like I said, use that preview button to make sure that it trims where you want it to and you didn't lose anything or you didn't leave anything in that you didn't intend to. Once you're all done and you're happy with your trim, you'll go ahead and hit save. I'm not going to actually make changes to mine today, so I'll hit discard, but you'll hit save and it'll tell you that it'll take a little bit of time to process, which is fine. And you don't have to worry about the music not being, getting in trouble for any copyrighted music as long as you trim it out. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit discard. You would remember to hit save. Well, I guess I'll just hit back. I didn't do anything I wanted to change, so that's all right. But that is going to conclude our training for the day. I just wanted you guys to get a peek at that editor and see that you could do a little bit of simple trimming here and there. So go ahead and join me tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. before our next challenge. But before that, tell me in the comments if you plan to use that trim feature at all, or if you plan to use outside editors and drop your final product right into YouTube. So come back at 7:30 tomorrow, and we're actually going to be talking about creating playlists. And now that our videos are all uploaded, I'm going to help you organize them a little bit. So 7:30 a.m. Central Time, we're going to go over creating playlists. I'll see you then.